can you even afford to eat here? I was 17 and working my first job at this upscale steakhouse downtown. You know the type. Cloth napkins, $20 appetizers, waiters in bow ties. I was just a busboy making $8 an hour, but I was saving every penny for a car. It was a Saturday night and the place was packed with the usual crowd. Business executives, couples on anniversary dates, families celebrating graduations. Everyone dressed to the nines, dropping hundreds on dinner like it was nothing. That's when this elderly man walked in. He was probably in his 70s, wearing this worn-out brown jacket with patches on the elbows and pants that had seen better days. His shoes looked like he'd been walking in them for decades. The hostess, Katie, looked him up and down with this disgusted expression. She didn't even greet him properly, just stood there like he was bothering her by existing. "Excuse me," the old man said politely. "I'd like a table for one, please." Katie rolled her eyes and said in the snottiest voice possible, "Sir, can you even afford to eat here? Our entrees start at $35. I was clearing a nearby table and heard the whole thing. My face burned with embarrassment for this guy. The other customers were starting to stare and whisper. The old man just smiled calmly and said, "I think I can manage. Just a quiet table would be nice." Katie sighed dramatically and grabbed the worst table in the house, right next to the kitchen doors where servers were constantly rushing back and forth. She basically threw the menu at him and walked away without another word. I felt terrible watching this happen. During my break, I went over to check on him. He'd ordered the cheapest thing on the menu, a cup of soup and a side salad. Total came to maybe $12. "How's everything tasting?" I asked. "Oh, it's wonderful," he said with genuine enthusiasm. "I haven't been to a nice restaurant in years. This is quite a treat." Something about the way he said it made my heart ache. Here was this man, clearly on a tight budget, treating himself to one small meal at a fancy place, and our staff was treating him like garbage. I started paying more attention to his table. Every time Katie walked by, she'd make these obvious sighing sounds or roll her eyes at other servers. When he asked for more crackers with his soup, she acted like he was asking her to donate a kidney. But here's where the story gets interesting. About an hour into his meal, this younger guy in an expensive suit came rushing into the restaurant. He looked frantic, scanning every table until his eyes landed on the old man. "Grandpa!" he shouted, practically running across the dining room. The old man's face lit up as this guy bent down to hug him. "Michael! You found me!" Turns out the elderly man was Robert something. I never caught his last name, and he was the founder of the largest construction company in our state, like billionaire-level wealthy. He'd been battling dementia for the past few years and had wandered away from his care facility earlier that day. His grandson Michael was in a complete panic. "We've been looking everywhere for you. The whole family is out searching." That's when Michael looked around and noticed how his grandfather was seated at the worst table in the house, how the staff was treating him. His expression changed immediately. He called the manager over and very calmly explained who his grandfather was. The manager's face went white as a sheet. He started apologizing profusely, offering to move them to the best table, complimentary meals, the whole 9 yards. But Michael wasn't done. He pulled out his phone and showed the manager something on the screen. "This restaurant is in one of my grandfather's buildings. Has been for 8 years. He owns this entire block, actually." The manager looked like he was about to faint. Katie, who had been eavesdropping nearby, suddenly became very interested in cleaning tables that were already spotless. Michael continued, "My grandfather has dementia, but he's still one of the kindest, most generous people you'll ever meet. The fact that your staff treated him poorly because of how he was dressed tells me everything I need to know about this establishment." He helped his grandfather up from the terrible table and left $40 for the $12 meal. As they were walking out, he stopped and handed me a $20 tip. "Thank you for being kind to him," he said quietly. Most people wouldn't have bothered. The next Monday, Katie got fired. The manager said it was for poor customer service standards, but everyone knew what really happened. Word spread through the staff pretty quickly about who that old man really was. I learned later that Robert had built his company from nothing, starting as a day laborer and working his way up over 40 years. Even after becoming incredibly successful, he never forgot what it was like to struggle. His family said he'd often dress down and visit businesses unannounced to see how they treated regular customers versus wealthy ones. It was like his personal test of character. That night taught me something important about judging people based on appearances. You never know who you're really talking to or what their story is. The elderly man in the patch jacket could be testing your character. The teenager in thrift store clothes could be saving every penny for college. The woman counting coupons at grocery checkout could be feeding 3 kids on minimum wage. Everyone deserves basic respect and kindness, regardless of how much money they appear to have. That should be common sense, but apparently it's not as common as you'd think. I still think about Robert sometimes, especially when I see people being treated poorly because of how they look or dress. Makes me want to be more conscious of how I treat everyone I meet.